All right, what is up? We got a trade review. It's Thursday, the 20th of November. It's kind of late, but I still need to get this out, so I wanted to review the day for the journal. Going into the market today, I there wasn't much early. I was kind of thinking we wouldn't get any setup for today. We had news come out, non-farm, I'm pretty sure, at 5:30, and we put in a data wick high that got swept. Data wick low was still here, um, which was our draw like the entire day. We were wanting to either come down, sweep this, and go higher, or this was going to be our take profit for the day. So that's what we were looking at coming into the market. Draw on liquidities higher was this London high, and the CE of this one day fair value gap was kind of like a draw for me, but mainly just the London high. So whole market, we kind of didn't really do much. We finally got a decent print, which put in a fair value gap finally on the 5 minute, and we got that inverse to the 5 minute. But this was an absolute fraudulent inverse. Like PJ and Gaines were calling it out the entire time that they just were so confident in the data wick low and that they weren't like sold on this inverse. Like it didn't go through with speed, and we didn't sweep liquidity on the drawdown and then inverse on the back up. Like if this candle comes down, right? Let me just highlight this out. If this candle right here comes down, sweeps data wick low, then we make a move up, this inversion looks much better. But because we didn't sweep anything, this inversion's really weak. So they weren't sold on the inversion. No, we didn't take anything there. What we did have some sort of setup where we swept this external high, took that out, and go down on the 1 minute. We have a 30-second breaker block. We'll get to this in a second. We have a 30-second breaker block, which I didn't point out because, well, I can't see the 30-second chart. But I figured it out on my Trade This was where the breaker was. So we're looking at a bearish breaker being a high, a low, a higher high, and a lower low. This lower low confirms the breaker, and also here caused a change in the state. So two ways you can take this 30-second breaker, right? Is when the breaker is confirmed, we make the high, we make the low, we make the higher high, and when we make this lower low and confirm the breaker, confirm the change in the state, this is when you could enter. You could enter at, let's see, no, let's go back, hold on. Let's try and get this. There we go, okay. You could have entered right here, run like a 50-point stop. It's not great. Your RR isn't great. So there's two ways really you can take a breaker. Is you can either take it off the confirmation of the breaker, off the change in the state, or you can wait for a pullback into the breaker to get a cheaper trade and then go back down. It really is just depending on how price is moving. By the way, I didn't enter. I didn't take this trade. I faded this because I didn't enter off this, and PJ was waiting for a retest of the breaker, which makes sense because look how choppy we are the entire session. It would make sense that we aren't gonna just flush out of here, but that's what happened. So this was our only pullback. It didn't touch this fair value gap either, which this is what I was looking at. I was really looking at this gap right here, not which also kind of lines up with the breaker, so that's cool. But I was more so looking at this 1 minute gap to at least get touched. The 1 minute gap didn't even get touched. That was the retrace I was looking for. Because look at how this changes your RR, right? You enter on here. It's a 50-point stop with a 2R targeting the data wick low. Whereas if you got a retap of the CE of the breaker, it changes it to a 26-point stop loss in a 4.9 R trade. it makes sense. Like, yes, days like this hurt to not take the trade, but over the long run, you'll probably end up making more and losing less if you wait for a retest into here. Um, Not to say that you can't take the change in the state and the confirmation of the breaker and enter here. You can definitely do that. You just have to have a good stop. If, let's say we close, like, let's say this, we close a little more higher, we don't close all the way down here. If you get a better close and you're able to put your stop loss a little tighter, it would make sense that you could go on this change of the state. But that's not how I ran it. I wanted to see the retrace, we didn't get it, and we just absolutely melted from there and watched it go like 1,000 points down. So that's the trade I missed during AM session. I did a bad thing. I went to PM session to try and make this back. I think FOMO just got me because I've missed on 1,000 points. So FOMO crept its way in, even though it usually doesn't. I've been good about that, but today it sure did. So in PM session, we're pretty much just looking for continuation longs, looking to rebalance this massive move down. And we get one little rebalance. We don't fill any gaps on the 15-minute. So I'm not really interested looking at this. What does look a little better is this retrace here. A 15-minute gap print right here. Go down on the 5-minute. We retest it right here on this candle. I'll go down to the 1-minute. I only took 2 stabs at this, which sucks. Okay, so KWT took 3 stabs at this. I only took 2, which of course the third one finally hit. I've never taken 3 stabs at something. I've taken 2 stabs at something, and usually the second one works. Second one, we gained some profit. Third one was the one that actually happened, and of course that's the one I faded. So this is the setup, right? It's a continuation 15-minute fair value gap trade. So continuation, get a 15-minute and pull back into a 15-minute fair value gap. We get a inversion. We get a pull into the gap. We get a V-shaped recovery. We get an inversion, change in the state. And here I was like just kind of getting on here. So I wasn't even really looking to get in right here. It's like, okay, well, if price ends up coming back up and retesting the inversion, or even coming back up into this gap, I'd be willing to get in. And also for draws, we had New York PM low. This was the lowest low we had at the moment. Lots of LR built up. So I'm liking what I'm seeing for lower. Also, this is a side note, but I'll change that later. So first trade idea, I took this full risk on my evals and my funded. Got fully stopped out at 41 points. And that was a $410 loss on my funded, a like 890 something loss on my evals, which I'm running 4 evals, just to clarify, running 4 evals, 1 funded account, just stacking up the 4 evals. And so we ended up getting fully stopped here. We push higher into the 15, which I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, we get kind of like a money sweep here. Cool. We break above this external high. We have another V shape. We have another inversion. We have another change in the state. This candle, that inverse, prints horribly. So it just absolutely tanks. So then that ended up forming a gap. 1-minute gap. We come back into the 1-minute gap. I enter. Stops above the gap around the inversion. 55-point stop. I took this half risk only on my evals. After the first trade, I just called it unfunded. I can take on more risk on the evals because I can just I need to have less fear on evals. I'm putting way too much stock in evals. I just need to be able to rinse through them. I don't want to have to pay a second time on the evals before passing or failing them. That's just horrible. So I'm taking too much time on them. It's just rinse through them. If you get them over to funded, cool. They can join my other funded account and I can trade those together. But I need to rinse through these evals, either pass them or lose them within 3 trades. That's how I need to run this. So I said, let's get back in on my evals. I could have just done full risk if I'm really trying to just rinse through the evals, but I did half risk just because I was, fearful in the moment. We ended up going 40 points in profit and going break even, taking out, I was in with 5 micros. So I ended up pulling 3 micros here per account. So I was left floating 2 micros at this point. So secured that. It was like $100 something of profit. So it brought my 880. Well, it was red 890, I believe. And then going into this trade on my evals after securing profit, going break even, I ended at 750 loss for my evals. So we could stop break even. We go back, dig deeper into this 1 minute, respect it again, make another 1 minute, retest into the 1 minute, and then KWT enters here again for a third time. This is where I say, like, I'm not doing it. I'm calling it. I'm not taking 3 trades after I just secured profits when break even. That's a level of greed I'm not getting into. Again, I think he just took this on an eval. I don't think he took, like, I think this is just kind of like an eval YOLO here, which is something I should have done because I have evals to YOLO. So I really should have taken this trade, and it delivers to New York PM low. So we had to take 3 stabs at this. I only took the 2, but that's what you get. So anyways, that was the day today. Crazy day. I learned a lot. I had to do a lot of just kind of doing the work today, like going to my journal. What I learned today, I mean, I had a lot of fear around pressing the button, trying to juggle Tradevate with my funded account or with my evals, and juggling TradingView with my funded account was just way too much. I was in way too much pressure there trying to juggle both. So I'm just going to do my evals until I pass them. So that put extra stress on me that I didn't need. I also need to get better at reading price action on my own, learning breakers, changing the states, and just getting comfortable with spotting that stuff on my own. Because coming into this move here, I didn't realize that it's passable to take the entry on the change in the state and on the confirmation of the breaker. I thought you had to get a retest before entering. It's just ideal. It's not needed. It's not in the rule book. It's just like an A++ thing to see. So again, that's something I learned today. I also learned I'm a lot worse at losing than I thought. Like going into the PM session, lost, and like I've said here, the loss wasn't too bad, but I absolutely took it to heart and was kind of just devastated after. It was horrible. Like I just felt terrible. It took me hours to get over the fact that I lost and to actually look at the P&L and be like, $400, like that's good risk man on my funded. $400 is good risk management on my evals. Being down 5 or 750 for the day is good risk management. I didn't blow up and full port my accounts and lose any accounts and lose my funded account. I behaved well. But the only thing I'm kind of mad at myself for is chasing price and going into the PM session when I never do that. I don't go into the PM session. I've never traded PM session before. But today, because I missed out on that big move, I just, I guess I FOMO'd into it and wanted to hit something. So I went into the PM session. Something I shouldn't do. So I was more mad at myself. What I'm trying to say is I'm more mad at myself that I did that today than me actually like trading. Like my trading, me placing the trades today was fine. Like none of that was horrible. Risk management was good. I didn't tilt or nothing like that. I just kind of broke like a soft rule of mine, which I don't even have a full rule because if I don't think it's such a bad thing, I go use evals in a PM session just to pass them. That's something I need to think about in the future if I want to do that more often. But anyways, pretty much. And then again, wrote here also at the bottom, just a big issue with fear. Um, like during this second session part, it was so hard for me to press the button. Press the button. I was terrified. Honestly, I was literally terrified. Um, so just lots of fear around losing the or pressing the button, and realizing that like when I was doing my paper trading, I didn't have that fear because it was safe. There's no emotions involved, really. There's no risk. So there's no fear if there's no risk. So I have to be able to accept the risk to overcome the fear. That's what I'm getting at. Um, and you do that, I can accept the risk by scaling down. That's why I'm excited to get past these or these evals because I using these five evals, I really did just overwork myself with them. I shouldn't have bought five evals. Um, I should have just started with one and worked my way up from there. I So that was a mistake on my part. I put myself more at risk by doing that, and in turn making more fear. So now I'm at the point where they renew on the 1st of December. And I need to pass them or fail them by the end of the month, at least in my brain, because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm like one trade away from failing, but at my renewals in like a day or two, and then I have to work myself all the way back up when a possibility is I have to pay for that month and then I lose the next trade. So I want to be through these accounts quick the next couple days and then start over. If I lose them all four of these evals, then I'll focus on just my one funded account from there and look to just scale from that one account. Because I have a funded account. Like I passed an evaluation. I can do this. I had one losing day and I'm thinking all these terrible things like, oh man, I'm a terrible trader. I can't really do this. My emotions are too bad. Like, get over yourself. It's one trade you lost. One trade you lost. So, anyways, that's my advice for myself today. This will be a good watch back. I'm glad I did a lot of journaling today just so I can keep things straight in my brain and keep a game plan going forward. But yeah, the rest of the month, I'm just going to be working on my evals to pass them or fail them by the end of the month. So going into December, I'm not like wasting money as far as paying for them again, renewal, and then potentially failing them early in the month, then having to buy more accounts. I don't want to waste money that way. So yeah, man, I think that'll do it. Peace.